That's what it means to be an offsider. Are you bold enough for truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You can't handle the truth.
What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Thrilled to have you guys with us. Big thanks to Cole and Diesel for holding down the fort yesterday. We got our cooking on in Arden, North Carolina, where Angela and I made Easter Bunny white chocolate pretzel pieces and orange chicken, the way that orange chicken really should be. It is, you might say, well, Mark, do you enjoy those shows? Believe it or not, I feel more pressure on those days than I do any show day. But I'll also tell you this, like, it is so rewarding. It is just like when you're done with that, you're like, come here, sweetheart, and plan a big one on me, okay? Because, like, you did something together. You were on camera together. You rocked it out together. Was a ton of fun, man. Was a ton of fun. It's an honor to be able to do it. That televised Ingles cooking show will be out for you to see in a couple of months. In the meantime, how you doing? What's good, man? Like, it's like my whole mood changes when this funk that we get in this area between November and March, where literally 2/3 of the days are high of 46 and raining. When you get the sense that that's about to leave, my mood starts to chipper up. And you might imagine how my mood is today. 76 degrees, sunny, funny, felt like the first day of the year you could be laying out by the pool. Fantastic to be here. Fantastic to be here. How you doing?
Yeah, I was driving here with the old 2x45 air conditioning.
Oh,
it felt nice. 2 windows down, 45 miles an hour.
You know,
life was good. I didn't have time to get the top all the way down because it's going to rain tomorrow morning again.
These are I think it's either October or November, and then definitely March.
Yeah.
But those are the months where you can't decide in your house whether you need the heat or the AC.
We got one of those fancy new ones. It's got a range on it. It's got heat cool.
Yeah.
We can keep it at between 65 and 70. Life is good.
Life is really, really good. Good to see you, man. Thanks for all you did yesterday as well to Cole on the show. Guys, let's open with this. South Carolina loses last night, 66-59. I maintain that I have always been fair about the Gamecocks and that everything I say about them is true to my opinion. Now, why is the perception different than that? The perception is different than that for the same reason that your local news leads with bad news, because that's what gets the ratings, okay? I could go through our timeline since the history that I've been here, and what you would find is probably 55% positive tweets about the Gamecocks, 45% negative tweets about the Gamecocks. Problem is, the negative tweets explode. They go viral. The positive tweets get like 11 likes. Moving on to the next one, right? The perception doesn't equal the reality. And it's unfortunate because we really have been true to our actual opinion with no bias or no agenda for or against the Gamecocks for 5 years. We really haven't been. I'll fully admit, like with what Shane Beamer did last year without an apology, it's like, okay, he kind of behaves like a jerk sometimes. He kind of behaves immaturely sometimes. But my job as a professional is still to cover them. And today we're going to tell you what Shane Beamer does well and what he does not do so well. But this first segment is about the basketball team. Tennessee versus South Carolina in basketball. Tennessee led essentially wire to wire. They won the first half 35-24. They went on to win 66-59. Were not overly threatened at any point in the game. It felt like a Tennessee win from beginning to end, and they won despite the fact that they shot under 36% from the field for the game. So my take on this, if you're expecting me to blast the Gamecocks, you're in the wrong place. I think what happened last night is actually the best thing that could have happened to South Carolina. Why? Well, Diesel, maybe this is just one of those segments that, again, is not going to go viral, or maybe it will. They're not. This was the best thing to happen to Gamecock fans because you don't want to be spoiled Clemson fans. I'll say it again. You don't want to be spoiled Clemson fans. What do I mean by that? Clemson fans, just like Florida fans, now expect to be, just like Miami Hurricanes fans, expect to be great every year, or they're not interested. Their fan base, anyone in their fan base that's under the age of 30, knows nothing but winning. That's all they know. So when winning becomes not a joy but an expectation, you become a spoiled fan base. Clemson has, the new generation of Clemson fans is a spoiled fan base. South Carolina doesn't have that. South Carolina expects nothing. Gamecock fans simply want you to be loyal to them, okay? And if you win and you're loyal to them, you are a god there. You are a god. They don't care what sort of warts you have. They don't care what sort of personality flaws you have. You know, as long as you win and are loyal to them, brother, they will erect a statue. I just dropped the word erect in the first 6 minutes of the show, Diesel. If I said to you...
Yeah, there was a CNN reporter who did the same thing on air the other day. He was talking about Donald Trump leading an erection on January 6th.
Oh, boy.
He's like, oh, oops. I mean, insurrection.
Diesel, this is a true story. I was once told that if you say to somebody, I'd like to show you my new direction, okay? The words are new direction. But put together, it sounds like something else, right? And I was once told that can have like a subliminal message kind of impact.
Don't ever tell me that.
Yeah, it can have.
I don't care what new directions you have, Mark.
Yes.
I don't want to see your new directions.
So, Diesel, I'd really like to show you my new direction today. I've got a new direction on life, that's really positive and uplifting.
You're positively swelling to tell me about your new direction.
Yes. I'm going to explode if I don't. So I've got to show this to you today, Diesel. It's very, very important. But guys, look, you don't want to be given the SEC championship. You want to earn it. If Lamont Paris won the SEC championship this year, where do you go from here? There's a reason they say that the relationships that last are the slow burns. They're not the ones where, like on date 3, you guys are ripping each other's clothes off and you're worried you got her pregnant. You know what I mean? Those aren't the relationships that last. The ones that do, you wait a little bit. You hold hands. You go from first base to second base to third base, then home. Like you take your time in these things. There's progress, incremental progress. You grow as a couple together, right? First you grow, then you go, then you make dough. And so I think it would be unhealthy, honestly, for Lamont Paris in his fledgling stage as Gamecocks head coach to reach a place where he's already at dough. He's already in the money, right? I understand if you're a Gamecock fan, you are disappointed today. You don't like where you're at today. You had a chance to win a championship and you missed out. And that hurts. I get it. But your future is so bright, you need shades. You've learned how to win many games this year without your star players playing well. And they didn't play well last night. 8 for 29 from 3. The Gamecocks shot all of 10 free throws for the game. They only made half of those. I could probably tell you 5 free throws made in the game for the Gamecocks, South Carolina, and you'd say loss And it was exactly that.
And yet you found yourself in the game right there at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know a lot of Gamecock fans were upset about the call, the three-pointer that the South Carolina player definitely jumped sideways into contact, tried to initiate contact on a three-pointer. I believe they were down 4 at the time. And Gamecock faithful there on site, you know, went nuts. According to the TV play-by-play guy, they were throwing ice onto the court, which I say is just like, God, it's a really, really bad look for Gamecock fans. Like, you got to grow up. You got to grow up past this, you know, football mentality where you lead the country in ejections, not erections, but ejections. So that was a really bad look, if true. Again, I'm just going off of what the play-by-play guy said.
Gamecocks, please show us your new direction. Okay, please show us a new direction where you keep the ice in your cup, even if the ice smells like farts. Okay, keep it in your cup. Okay, keep it in your cup in more ways than one. All right, and please, you know, let's have some decorum. Let's have some class. Let's stop showing our ass. Let's do all of that together.
Keep it in your cup unless your cup is one of those new Dune popcorn buckets that everybody is saying they're going to do untoward things with.
Oh, a bleep in a box.
Yeah. Have you seen these?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
It's a popcorn bucket with it tapers to the middle and then it opens up, but it looks like the sandworm in the movie Dune. So it's got all these little soft rubber fingers that like stick in from the edges, and the people on the internet take that to the filthiest place they can.
Oh boy. Guys, could I make a little aside here for a few minutes and take a little detour? I'm going to share with you the biggest regret that I have during my time in the upstate thus far. And there's not many of them. But over the last month, I have centered on my number one regret, Diesel. Okay. And I've heard about this place and I never went. And I'll tell you why. Okay. My mind is, if I'm going to do unhealthy and if I'm going to do fast food, which I haven't done often, but maybe like once or twice a month. Okay. If I'm going to do it, I'm not going to spend $15. I'm going to spend $8. If I'm going to spend over $10, I'm going to do the nice meal. You know, I might as well spend 20 or 30, right, on myself if I'm going to do the nice meal. So I haven't done what could be called like upscale fast food. Okay. In the last month, I've had cookout 5 times. And I am cursing my ever-loving existence. The only reason I never went, Diesel, the only reason, can you guys believe I was here for 5 years without going to cookout? Like, I've never seen cookout anywhere else I've lived. I don't know if it's exclusive to South Carolina. But when I started going about a month ago, I'm like, these prices are lower than other fast food places, not more. You get like the junior or the big meal for either $5 or $7. It comes with 2 sides. I always get 2 walking tacos. You know what a walking taco is, Diesel?
No.
They make a taco out of a Dorito bag. And so they open the Dorito bag and they put all the taco stuff inside the bag. So you have Doritos.
God, this sounds so low rent.
It's so delicious. You got sour cream, you got the cheese, you got the Dorito chips, you got the taco meat, and it's all inside the Doritos bag. And so and number one, the burgers are way better. The burgers are way better. Like, it's not even close how much. Like, these taste like fresh burgers off your grill, as opposed to some like this has been frozen as a hockey puck for 8 months.
There are 334 cookout restaurants in the U.S.
Where are they?
Let's see here. The state with the most cookout locations is North Carolina. 126 of them are in North Carolina.
Okay. What other states are they in?
You're asking me.
Okay. Oh, I thought you had like
okay.
A
No,
map.
now I see a map here. They're all over the Southeast. They're in Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina.
So if you're in SEC country, you're in cookout country. I'm here to tell you, last night for $8 and something cents, I had a double cheeseburger, I had 2 walking tacos, and I had a banana shake. And I'll let you know that I'm still alive to talk about it.
Did you check the scale this morning?
I did, Diesel. I did. It just said WTF. That's all it said to me.
Change your life is what it says.
It didn't even give me a number. It just said F you all the time.
Adam Dameron on YouTube says, I once married a walking taco.
Oh, the Offsiders have jokes today, man. They got jokes. But guys, Suffice to say, my biggest regret, like I looked at Cookout and I was just like, nah, I'm not going to spend $15 for better fast food. I'm just going to go to the standard places and pay $8. That's what I'm going to do. Not going to do that. It's not $15. It's $8. And it's 10 times better than the $8 you'd spend at the typical fast food joint. They don't tell you that. Cookout, put your prices on your sign. Like, let me know for $8, I can get a double cheeseburger, 2 walking tacos, and a banana shake. Okay? Must be jelly because jam don't shake like that. I'm telling you, I got a little extra shake today, but I'm happy about it. And my biggest regret in my time here is that I stubbornly did not go to Cookout, okay, until the last month. And now I can't stop going. My wife is like, Mark, you better stop doing that. Okay? Like you're developing an unhealthy habit. I can't help it. I want another shake today. What's your favorite Cookout shake? That's a pretty sizable regret to have, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Like how could you be here for 5 years and you never went to Cookout? Shame on me. I am disgraced. Just take my ostrich head and shove it in the sand. I'm Mark Ryan, and I approve this message. We'll be joined by J.J. Hardy with some Carolina Panthers talk when we come back here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. So I was listening to Nicole Tepper today. She was on with Emily Adams, the show Up and Adams. And, like she was asked, what do you, this is hard, Diesel. This is difficult. She was asked, what are you most proud of, during your time in Charlotte, and, is it alienating your South Carolina fan base? Is it more fines than wins? What are you most proud of? And I can't believe this, Diesel, but sometimes the headline writes itself. She said, we're probably most proud of that we've brought more than 20 live shows. And
they're still on this.
They're still guys, this isn't even like an urban legend. Like they're actually rolling out with this. And it's just like, could you read the room any less? Nicole Tepper said they struggle to get 6 events a year. Ooh. And now they're averaging 23 events a year.
Wow.
Diesel, 23 events. None of them are football wins, but they are averaging 23 events a year. Guys, I like to help people who can help themselves. Okay? That's what I like to do. I have yet to see any proof, one way or the other, that Carolina is capable of that. Joining us right now, for my money, the best Carolina Panthers coverage on the internet. And here's what I mean by that, guys. You can cover reporters and you can cover people who break the news. Big whoop. I want people who give me the honest scoop, the honest skinny, that don't sugarcoat anything, that give me real opinions, that aren't trying to be liked. That's JJ Hardy. That's Panthers culture. And it is my pleasure to bring him on the show with you right now. JJ Hardy, you've got a track meet that you're going to. Can we get the 411 on that? I did track, believe it or not. Okay. Lately, JJ, everywhere I go, my belly is on time, but I'm 15 minutes late. But I'm curious, what's this track meet? I'll tell you what I did back in the day.
Okay, so it's my son.
Awesome.
He's 15 years old. He's a sophomore, and he runs the 100 and the 200.
Wow. Yeah. I'll tell you, we listed our top 5 favorite athletes the other day, and my number 5 was Usain Bolt. And I said, I don't think he gets enough credit for not being the fastest man in the world, but the fastest human who's ever lived.
Right.
Guys, just absolutely incredible. I ran the 800, JJ, which is the half mile, which is 2 laps around the track. And I ran it in 2:13, which is pretty decent. 2 minutes and 13 seconds for a half mile. So that's awesome, man. I'm glad you're out there seeing the sun today. I wanted to, they call it a bleep sandwich, JJ. You start with positive, you fill it with bleep in the middle, and then you end with something positive. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Nicole Tepper, what's your best accomplishment here? She's still rolling out with the concerts, JJ. How do these people not get that that's not what the fan base wants to hear?
I don't know, man. I think it's just a total disconnect from the actual football fans in Charlotte. I think when Dave Tepper, when he first sought out the opportunity to own the Panthers, I don't think he was just focused on the Panthers football team. I think he looked at the opportunity in Charlotte as a whole, right? And I think owning the football team was a way in. And once he got in and was able to figure out, what Charlotte had and what it didn't have, I think, he was, just like any billionaire, how they would think. He was looking for opportunities to make more money. And, he was, he got, access to a stadium, a venue where he could figure out different ways to bring money through that venue. And I think their chief objective, as the moguls they are, was to maximize, the revenue that they could bring in, to make them more wealthy. And so I just think they're not connected to what truly matters, there in Charlotte, as it pertains to the Carolina Panthers. He can own the soccer team, he could bring in concerts and whatever other ticketed events she was referring to. But the reality is Dave Tepper will always be viewed as the owner of the Carolina Panthers, an NFL football team, one of 32. And they need to really, I think, calibrate their focus to that being first and foremost, and like everything else or whatever's next is like a far distant second. And when their messaging becomes more about football and bringing in a successful team, I think, or building, establishing, maintaining a successful team, I think the fans will be more, receptive to them. And because right now it just feels like they are totally disconnected to what matters for us. And until they do that, man, there's just going to be a lot more consternation from the fan base, a lot more criticism. And, I want them to figure it out. I don't know what it's going to take for them to figure that out, but I just want them to really get somebody close to them, from a public relations standpoint, and really kind of like just hone them in and say, hey, look, I know you guys might be happy to be making all this money and, generate more revenue, bringing more excitement in your eyes to the Carolinas or to Charlotte in general. But this is two states, and a lot of fans aren't right here in Charlotte that can benefit from those ticketed events. You got fans, and you got fans across the world, but, just even around, like you can be in North Carolina and be 4 or 5 hours from Charlotte. So what does that benefit that Carolina Panthers fan? Same thing in South Carolina. You can be in Charleston and be 3 hours away from Charlotte. That does not benefit them as Carolina Panthers fans. So focus on the football first. You can say something like, man, we've been very successful business-wise here in Charlotte. However, we would really, really, really like, first and foremost, to build this football organization to the point where fans can be proud of this football team. We can have sustained winning and yada, yada, yada. And I think if you always at least mention that, or at least end with that, I think fans will be like, okay, she said what I needed her to say, or he said what I needed him to say, and we'll be fine. But until they get that, she's going to continue to get the criticism from the fan base that she received yesterday, and Dave Tepper had received many times before.
So who needs football wins, JJ, when you can bring Ashley Simpson to town?
Everybody.
JJ Hardy at Panthers Culture on Twitter. Find him, give him a follow. JJ, why tag Brian Burns instead of just paying him? What's the thought process here? What's the upside? Obviously, with it being a non-exclusive tag, other teams can make him offers, so you still may lose him. I know you get something back in picks if another team does make him an offer. But is this a good idea? Is Brian Burns going to be happy being franchised in Charlotte?
I think very few players are actually happy being franchise tagged, especially when you go the non-exclusive route, right? Because I believe that's a little less than the normal franchise tag, right? The non-exclusive tag allows the flexibility of the player being able to seek, amenable contract deals, for them, personally. And in exchange, the standard offer is 2 first-round picks, right? So if somebody made Brian Burns an offer that he would accept, they're willing to pay him the contract terms that he wants, and Carolina doesn't want to match that, then he goes to that team and we get 2 first-round picks in exchange. Now, my understanding is that it doesn't have to be the 2 first-round picks. It could be whatever Carolina decides that they would accept as fair compensation, and who knows what that is. It could be a first-round pick and a player. It could be a first and 2 seconds, whatever they're comfortable with accepting in exchange for Brian Burns. I'm of the belief that the reason they did it was to get something in exchange for Brian Burns rather than just letting him walk. And if by chance nobody offers anything for Brian Burns, then they have him for 1 year on an annual salary that they were willing to pay him anyway, $24 million a year, right? And so I think going into the negotiations with Brian, I think that's probably where they started, was between 23 and 24. That's what reports indicated. And so given that he's on this non-exclusive franchise tag, and if nobody makes an offer that he likes and he ends up being a Carolina Panther in 2024, then he's getting the $24 million that they were always comfortable with him getting. Now, the issue that could derive from that is Brian Burns may not want to play on a franchise tag. So it may lead to a holdout. But I think in that situation, it's already messy. And, and at that point in time, as I say in my real job, you're just waiting for a bad contract to die. And so I think that's just where we are with Brian right now. It's an unfortunate situation that Scott Fitterer, that he navigated us to. And now I think Dan Morgan, Brant Tillis, and Dave Canales, they're going to have to kind of see us through it. And I'm hoping, I think the best case scenario for everybody, and I know that this won't make a lot of fans happy, I think the best case scenario for everybody is that Brian Burns finds a team who is willing to pay him his $30 million request. We get 2 first or whatever we think is good enough in return. And I think everybody's happy. Yeah, we're going to have to replace a really good player. But we at a point this year where we're in a building year with a new coach. You got a second-year quarterback, got a new GM. This is the opportunity to build. And if you start winning and, get a couple good draft picks, nobody's going to remember, what Brian Burns did as a Carolina Panther. And I know that sounds crazy to say, and I'm not doing that disrespectfully. Good player, great player. But nobody remembers any wins or any winning seasons when Brian Burns was here or anybody else that we might lose. So I'll just, hope for the best for every party. And I personally think what's best is he gets the money he wants and we get something in exchange and everybody leaves happy.
JJ Hardy, Panthers culture, joining us here on Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the fan upstate. JJ, I got a stat for you. I've gone back the last 10 years, and I've looked at first-round quarterbacks that hit and first-round quarterbacks that failed. Here's what I found. QBs that were drafted into bad situations hit. In other words, are successful 23% of the time. Quarterbacks drafted into good situations are successful 53% of the time. All told, when you put all of them together, first-round QBs last 10 years have a 63% bust rate. You know what category Bryce Young is in. But this is not a Bryce Young type question. This is a Dave Canales question. Do you think a head coach can overcome bad ownership? Because we know he's got bad ownership. I like his mindset. I like that he said Russell Wilson isn't a fit for this team. I was apoplectic when this team wanted to sign Matt Stafford. How does that fit with a rebuilding roster a few seasons ago? So I like so much of what I'm hearing. Admittedly, there's a lack of experience. He's very green. Do you think a good coach can overcome bad ownership?
Yeah, I do. But it just depends on the situation, right? I think oftentimes we may have experienced bad owners in the NFL, but you didn't know about it because the coach was so good, right? He might have been bad in a lot of other areas outside of football operations, just who he was as a person, morally, ethically, whatever, could have been happening, but you never knew about it because the football was good, right? And it's because the coach was good, because the players were good, and the winning was there. Typically, you don't find out how bad an owner is until the wheels fall off and, there's a bunch of losses and everybody's trying to figure out what's wrong. And typically everybody keeps going until they get to the top. And then you find out, oh man, like this dude is a train wreck. So I think you can have success. It's too hard to think of a situation in my head where there was a good coach and a bad owner, recently. But I think I don't know how good owners actually are. But I'll point to a situation. I don't particularly think Haslam in Cleveland is a great owner, right? But they have had success here recently, despite who he is as an owner. So that's what I'm saying. Kevin Stefanski and the job he did this past year, the owner had put him in a bad situation, by giving Deshaun Watson the guaranteed contract for $230 million. And, other things that he's done, in years preceding that. But I think Stefanski's a good coach. I think they have a good manager. They have built a really good team. And because they have won despite bad ownership decisions, you don't hear about Haslam as much as you hear about Tepper. But I don't think Tepper and Haslam are that different in who they are inherently,
JJ, some big name defensive players are out there available right now. You know, the Bills released corner Tre'Davious White. The Broncos released Justin Simmons. Both are Pro Bowl caliber players. Last year, the Carolina Panthers were pretty good in pass defense, pretty not good in rush defense. If you could only afford to go out and get one, who are you sending your contract to?
I think I would be going after Justin Simmons. I think he has a better track record when it comes to health. So I think he's a healthier guy. I think when it comes to his familiarity, with our coaching staff, he was with Jerry Evero when Evero was defense coordinator in Denver. So he knows Evero's scheme. He speaks that language defensively. I found a video earlier today where he was talking about Jerry Evero and how he's one of the best communicators, best coaches that he's been around. And so I know you have that familiarity there. Familiarity goes a long way in this league. And so I would go after Justin Simmons over White. If White had been healthy over the last few years and he still ended up in this situation, I would prioritize White based on positional value at cornerback. But he's coming off an Achilles injury, and he had injuries the year before. So his injury history would keep me away. I still would take a flyer on him, if I didn't have to choose between the two. But if I had to choose between the two, I'd go with the healthy guy with the better track record for success and familiarity with Evero.
JJ, thanks so much, pal. Tell your son that everyone here on Offsides is pulling for him today, okay?
Hey, man, I appreciate his roots are 100% upstate South Carolina. So we run for the family back at home just like we run down here in Georgia.
Awesome stuff, buddy. Thank you so much, JJ. Have a great one. JJ Harday, Carolina Panthers culture. Panthers culture is where you can find him on Twitter. Unbelievable insight from JJ that he gives us each and every time he's on. Always truly do value and appreciate the situation. Diesel, what's crazy to me is you evaluate Brian Burns as a player, and he's incredibly dynamic. He's unbelievably athletic. He's by far the best pass rusher on the team. But when you look at him analytically, he's got holes in his game. He's not great against the run. He's he's an 80-plus grade player as a pass rusher. He's a 60-plus grade player as a run defender. That's half of the job. Guys get paid for sacking quarterbacks. It's the equivalent of the home run in baseball. He's really, really good at that. But I think if he wants the money that he says he wants, he's going to have to plug the other holes in his game.
He really is. And JJ said it there. I mean, this kind of puts the Carolina Panthers back to where they were last season when they were talking about trading him. They were at the point of 2 first-round picks for him. And if that's what they would be willing to accept from that non-exclusive tag, if he ended up leaving and going somewhere else, then the Carolina Panthers get back what they thought they valued him as last year. And they also don't have to pay him, a new multi-year contract. They can give him the financial value that they were already talking about. They could get back the trade value that they were already talking about. So tagging him seems like a win-win for the Carolina Panthers. It just feels wrong to send off easily one of the top 2 best defensive players on that team.
100%, man. No doubt about that. Wouldn't he be one of the guys that you want to build around? He and Derek Brown and potentially Luvu. What do you think? What do you say if you are a Carolina Panthers fan? All right, coming up next on the show, how about we just go sunshine and rainbows about our area coaches? And how about we do it next here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere? It's Offsides. MARC RYAN and Diesel. We are the fan upstate. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Happy to have you guys with us, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Thrilled to be here with you. Of course, my friends, next Monday, we will be live at the SoCon Conference Championship game for a full show, unless Furman is playing in said national championship game. We love doing full shows, not to say it's a problem to ever have a break or get off a little bit early, but man, what a fun time that would be if Furman can win a couple of games. And in reality, guys, that is all Furman is going to have to do. What do you guys think of Furman's chances here? Okay, like what is your honest assessment of their odds? I'll tell you, like, to me, guys, you know, like, you'll know I'm always the host that's going to shoot straight with you. I can't believe that in a 10-team league, I can't believe that Furman finished in 6th place. Diesel, Furman is the 6th. I mean, like, really? You know, like, what would you have said if I told you this last year? That in 10 teams, if you were to guess what Furman's seed would have been in the SoCon this year, you'd have said best case 1, worst case 3. I mean, that's like they're one of the top 3 teams.
There was high expectations with all these guys. With 2 stars leaving,
right?
There was still a lot of high expectations with the players coming after them to be able to keep it rolling.
I remember Dan Scott said, like, this season should be the expectation, not the exception. Expectation, not the exception. Well, at least this year, it looks more like the exception than the expectation. Would you believe Furman even finished behind Wofford in the standings? I mean, I can't remember the last time I said that about anything, you know, behind Wofford in the standings, 10-8, they finished. They were 10-6 in league play and lost their final 2 games, lost to Mercer to end the year. Mercer finished 8th in the conference. And then to open the conference tournament, Furman gets Western Carolina, 11-7. Very, very winnable game. Some might even say a coin flip. 11-7 versus 10-8. Problem for Furman is they've lost 2 in a row. Western Carolina's won 3 in a row. So based on current form, maybe not. You beat Western Carolina, okay? Then you get a shot. We got to win 1 game as an underdog. All right, 1 game. So long as you don't get Samford, you get maybe a team that only has 2 more wins than you do. UNC Greensboro, Chattanooga. You win 2 games, you're in the final. They begin conference play Saturday in a game that can be heard right here on the Fan Upstate. But Diesel, you know, look, win 2. Win 2 games.
Yeah.
Win 2 games, get to the final. Anything can happen. You know, I'm not going to put it past this team to win 2 games. Anything kind of does happen in the SoCon Conference tournament. But I got to be honest with you, man. I looked at this today. I was looking at this today, and I was looking at the games and when they're going to be on and kind of putting our schedule together. And I was saying to myself, 6th place? They finished in 6th place in the 10-team SoCon Conference. I can't tell you how disappointed I am in that.
Yeah, it's a super competitive league this year. I mean, you know, the Samford is kind of walked away from everybody else with a 15-3 record in the conference, but UNCG, Chattanooga, Western Carolina, all in that. Both UNCG and Chattanooga have 12 wins. Western Carolina has 11 in the conference. Wofford has 10. Nobody is significantly better than everybody else in this conference except for Samford. And we know that Furman can go on the road and beat 20-win basketball teams. They did that versus Chattanooga earlier in the season. They have the talent, even though they've been injury hampered up to this point for a better part of the season. They have the talent to go out and run with and beat anybody. The question is, do they have the talent to go on a multi-day streak, which we haven't seen them go, you know, rattling off 3, 4, 5, 6 straight wins. So that's the concern for Furman. Can they beat anybody in this conference? Yeah. But can they do it 3 days in a row?
Yeah, that is the million-dollar question. We check on our text line, 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go. Texter says, Mark, you saying that the Gamecock fan base is actually better off not winning the SEC this year is a loser's mentality. No. I'm a shining light kind of guy here. I'm looking at glasses half full. If you win the championship, year 2, where do you go from there? Why buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
Well, there is one other way to look at that. You win that championship in year 2, and maybe somebody comes calling on Lamont Paris. Maybe you keep him. I know this is a weird way of looking at it, and not a single Gamecock fan is going to agree with this. But if you have to continuously engage in that slow climb, maybe that's what engages South Carolina fans to come back next year and say, man, we were this close.
100%.
We were right there away from being in the mix to win this conference. Now we're hungry enough to come back. It's all culture building with South Carolina in basketball. You need to build that culture where you come out to see South Carolina play, not you come out and show out to see who South Carolina is playing. So I'm talking early in that season when you're playing, the non-Power 5 opponents, when you're playing somebody that you're not familiar with. Do you as fans show up for that? Are you willing to start engaging in games 1 through 10 of the season, not games 17 through 27?
If Lamont Paris can do this with this, imagine what he can do with a few more years of recruiting. He's already shocked the world. He's got a defense-first philosophy. Defense travels. You might have watched that last night as a Gamecock fan and been disappointed. I watched it last night. I was proud of the coach. I was proud of the team. I was proud of the fan base, provided they stopped throwing ice on the court, right?
You got to be really proud with the way they came back. I mean, that game looked like it was out of hand early in the second half. It looked out of hand. It looked like Tennessee was going to roll and beat you by 20, but you clawed back all the way to the very end.
We check on your text line right now, and a texter says it's called a Dunacy. That must be something you get at Cookout?
A Dunacy.
What is that?
That's the Dune popcorn box that some people I don't know. I don't want to look this up because I don't think I want to know.
Okay.
Has anyone actually used it for that? I'm sure they have because people are gross. But is this one of those internet creations that's not reality?
I feel like this dude just got me to say something on the air that I wasn't supposed to say. I feel like he just successfully did that. I'm always worried that you guys are going to do that to me.
A Dunacy.
Texter says peanut butter shake at Cookout makes a bad day go away. Absolutely. Our buddy Cole Bryson texted me a few minutes ago, and Cole said peanut butter cheesecake, and there's no other choice. They use real cheesecake. Peanut butter cheesecake shake, I guess he's saying. They use, and also fun tip, you can also order a piece of cheesecake by itself. Yum. Peanut butter cheesecake shake. There is no other choice.
Cole has an unnatural crush on peanut butter.
Does he?
We established this a few weeks ago.
Did he?
He'll do anything for it.
How about it? Texter says, try the barbecue sandwich with slaw and Texas Pete. Chocolate shake is the best. Sir, I'm going to have you and Cole in a no-holds-barred cage match. Him representing peanut butter, cheesecake peanut butter, you representing chocolate, okay? Texter says, Diesel, have you seen Gamecock tailgates in Columbia during football season? I think they are leading the nation in both erections and ejections.
A lot of trustworthy ladies all over the fairgrounds down there. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's where he's going with that. I think that's what it is.
It's, how far down does a 10 fall if you see her projectile vomiting and fall down?
Oh, well, I don't know about.
She drops from a 10 to a 6.
I don't know about her, but something else falls down real fast, Diesel. Real fast. Real fast. Let's see here. Texter, how dare you say this about the tradition, the institution that is Cookout? He says it's basically a no-holds-barred barnyard, except not as hygienic. This is wrong. Texter says Burns turned down $27 million last year, had a down year, and now wants $30 million. Let him go. Texter says Furman's odds are the same as Wofford's odds. Wofford split with Furman, and Furman whipped Samford a couple of weeks ago. We'll see, man. You win 2 games. That's that. When you say that out loud, it sounds very, very manageable. Texter says, I have a peanut butter shake. It would be like getting peanut butter out of carpet. If I have a peanut butter shake, it would be like getting peanut butter out of carpet during my evening constitution. Oh, Texter, I'm sorry. So things get a little sticky within you, huh? Things back up a little bit, you know? I'm sorry to hear that, sir. I'm very, very sorry to hear that. Sounds like that's something we need to see a doctor for. Guys, if you're wondering why we're talking about this, I mentioned to you my biggest regret since I've lived here in the upstate is I never went to Cookout until a month ago. Why? Well, I knew everything else that was around. I knew Sonic. I knew all the regular fast food places. Like I just was kind of like, this looks more expensive. It looks like it's better, but it looks like it's more expensive. Why do I want to go down that road? Biggest mistake I've made since I've been here. I had last night 2 walking tacos, a banana shake. By the way, what is Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. And I had a double cheeseburger.
Did you get that get that one from one of Jackson's lollipop sticks?
Diesel, that was funny.
Is that a popsicle stick?
That was funny. That was very, very good. Very good, sir. All right, Offsides will continue right after this. We are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Thrilled to have you with us. You can hit us on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone, 844-326-3663, and on the text line, 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. Fantastic to have you guys with us. Like, what would you say? I'm not asking about, like, I care about your interest, right? Like I do. But what would you say are the top 3 interests of the upstate this time of the sports calendar? You know, like we're in March, right? It's not yet March Madness, but does college basketball make it, even though it's not March Madness? You know, if you're asking me right now, upstate calendar, what I would say top 3, you guys tell me how I do. Those of you who have been here your whole lives, you have an advantage over me here. Okay, I'm going to guess the 3 biggest general sports this time of year, early March in the upstate. All right, Diesel, I am going to go college football headlines number 1. I'm going to go still. I'm going to go college basketball number 2. And I will go, it's between Atlanta Braves and college baseball. To me, it's really close, but I'm going to go Braves. So I would go, that would be my order. College football news and notes, number 1. College basketball, number 2. Atlanta Braves, number 3. College baseball, a really close number 4. Am I close? Have I swung and missed? I'm thinking about right now. If you were to guess that the upstate's top 3 areas of interest right now, folks, text us with your top 3. Maybe you'll know definitively, Mark, you're right, or Mark, you're wrong. Here are the top 3 right now. It's our job to know. It's our job to hit you at your passion points.
Yeah, I mean, we're just a couple of weeks away from Major League Baseball opening day. The Braves fans obviously have a reason to be excited. They got some great pitching depth, or a potential star if he can get healthy, if he can stay healthy this year. And Chris Sale, that's a World Series winning pitcher that they just added to this roster. Now, I know that he has had his issues in the past. He's had his injury-prone issues in the past. The last couple of seasons have all been shortened by injuries for Chris Sale. But it gives the Braves, where pitching was one of their really soft spots last year, quality pitching depth. I mean, they could hit the ball. They really could hit the ball in almost every situation. I know they kind of floundered down the stretch there in that last series, but hitting's not been a problem for the Braves. Pitching has been the weak point for them. And if you want to make a run at a World Series, you got to have elite pitching.
What would you say, Diesel? Would you agree with that top 3? Would you change anything?
I think that's close. I mean, college football never goes away from people's minds. It's every day is football season in people's minds around here. You had NCAA basketball tournament 2 in some years. I mean, I would flip-flop 2 and 3 at least there in some years. This year, obviously, I think college basketball has jumped the Atlanta Braves in people's minds right now. So, yeah, I mean, I would flip-flop. Most years, I would go 1, 3, 2 in your list, but this year, 1, 2, 3, I think is a fine list.
Cool. Texter says, Mark, college football news number 1. We were right there. He says Braves number 2, college hoops number 3, except he doesn't have Braves number 2. He has Braves number 3. He has college hoops number 4, and then he's got NFL free agency talk number 2. And really? what I can tell you, Texter, is I haven't found that. Like here's the challenge as a host with doing a lot of NFL free agency talk is everyone here is a fan of a different team. So unless you're going to talk about all 32 teams, it's hard to talk about just one. If we do, for example, a topic on what are the Broncos going to do at quarterback now that Russell Wilson is going to be released, we're reaching 3% of the audience with that segment, right? It's like an unwise segment to do. So I find like the audience is so fractionated among different teams, but maybe you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just I'm letting you know I haven't detected a lot of buzz there. Just my take outside looking in. My guess, ladies and gentlemen, was that top 3 areas of interest for the upstate this time of year: college football news number 1, college basketball number 2, Braves number 3. How did I do relative to what you guys think that it potentially could be? The other thing I want to talk about here is NASCAR, right? NASCAR to me is, like it's there. We understand it's an area of interest. We understand, there's a lot of folks here that are into it. And we always want to meet you at your passion point. We always want to meet you at your passion point. Kyle Larson leads the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series standings, 118 points. Ryan Blaney, 110. Martin Truex Jr., 104. William Byron, 103. Ross Chastain, 98. Kyle Busch, 95. Still one of the best headlines I've ever seen in my life. Hot Busch takes pole. That was a headline, a real headline of a newspaper. Didn't even realize what they were doing, Diesel. Didn't even realize what they were doing. It's incredible. But I will say this, guys. As we consider where this sport is and where it's been in the past, and when we consider the ratings for this sport, when it peaked and where it is today, peaked in the early 2000s. I remember in the early 2000s, I was dating a Sheila in Bradenton, Florida, and she'd invite me over to her family's house for like NASCAR watch parties, and the whole family was there. And I remember thinking, like, this thing has never been bigger. This thing is massive. But then, for a variety of different reasons, and that's what I'm about to ask you about, it's fallen on hard times. For a variety of reasons, it's become a sport that is trying to hang on, trying to survive, not able to thrive. Okay? Truth be told, would you believe that NASCAR television ratings are down 46% from what they were 20 years ago? 46%. I don't know how you survive if you are a business entity and so a corporation like NASCAR Diesel can say, well, look, streaming services and Disney Plus and Apple TV. Yeah, but look at the NFL's ratings. Okay. Look at college football's ratings. Your ratings are down 46%. We're tired of the excuses. If you guys are NASCAR fans out there today, I'm going to give you the opportunity to fix it. Okay. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've got a great NASCAR contact, developed a relationship with this person. Not that kind of relationship, you dirty dogs, but I developed a relationship with this person where we've communicated back and forth over my 5 years here. And she periodically will pitch to me guests. My philosophy is always, if I've heard of the driver, I'm willing to have the driver on. But I know, Diesel, that for them to be contacting me, asking me, would you like to have a NASCAR driver on? You think the NFL does that? You think the NBA says, hey, Mark, would you like to have LeBron on? No, they don't do that. But NASCAR is doing that because they need help. They need assistance in markets like this where they'd be good. So here's what I'm going to do. I have this contact that has a significant position in NASCAR. Okay. I want your number one fix for what ails NASCAR right now. I want your number one fix. And what I'm going to do is Diesel and I are going to vote on this today. Okay. We're going to vote on the number one fix that you guys submit. I'm going to submit that to my contact at NASCAR. Okay. I'm going to submit that. I'm going to say, we've really talked about how to build NASCAR back up again. We thought we would be a helpful resource for you. We've talked to our fans who are your fans, and this was the best idea provided to us. So what I need right now is for you guys to put your thinking caps on, okay? And look at this as a challenge. Look at this as a contest. I'm going to send your best idea to a higher up at NASCAR, okay? My word to you, I'm going to send the best idea as voted by Diesel and I today to fix the sports, to fix what ails, what's going on there. Because I'll be real, guys. As somebody who lived in a market previously, Houston, that didn't pay attention to NASCAR, and the market that I was in before Houston, Tampa Bay, did not pay attention to NASCAR. I don't have the background in this sport that you guys do. I'm pun intended here. Some of you guys could run circles around me with your knowledge on NASCAR. Just being totally honest with you. All right. So anyway, hit us with your ideas. 71307 on the text line. I think it helps to examine how we wound up here. Like, how did we get to this particular place where ratings are down 46 freaking percent?
Well, I think, you got to look at NASCAR's overall history. It started as almost exclusively a Southern sport. I think it grew to the bounds of where it could grow as a Southern sport. NASCAR then, tried to push this thing to a wider audience. They went national with their tracks, and previously almost all of the drivers were from the Southeast. It would be weird. It would be like, oh my God, who is this driver coming in from California? Who's this young hotshot driver who's used to running whatever circuits he's used to running? And he's coming here and he's absolutely crushing it, which, that is the whole synopsis of the movie Days of Thunder. It's exactly what happened in that movie. But like, the Southern fans didn't like it, and they would actively root against. They would instantly create a villain out of the guy that came in from the outside. Well, then NASCAR grew and grew and grew. So number one, you got to examine what it is that helped it grow to the point there that it is. And then you got to look to say, what can we do to rejuvenate that emotional response to NASCAR that people had in the 90s? And it's easy to say, well, develop stars, develop another Dale Earnhardt, develop another, Rusty Wallace. That's a really difficult thing to do. And especially when, the NASCAR as an entity is not going to want to shrink the sport. They're not going to want to say, okay, let's kill off our California races. Let's get rid of Las Vegas. We're going to bring this thing right back down here to the old Confederate South, and we're going to try to be great right here. They're not going to do that. So that's where it gets really tough. That's where it gets really tough for this sport that has fallen off as much as it has.
I think NASCAR and baseball have a similar issue in the sense that they both ran into the same problem. They took their base for granted. We've got terms here in our business, guys. We call it P1s. Those are your ride or die listeners, those people that are going to be there for you, rain or shine, every single day, no matter what. I think the biggest mistake you could make is to take those people for granted, right? Baseball said our diehards are always going to be here. NASCAR said our diehards are always going to be here. So let's neglect them and let's try to become a more mainstream, popular sports, right? Let's get political. Let's get politically correct. And they went away. They in so doing lost, I think, a significant portion of their diehards. Now, NASCAR is still well ahead of Formula One ratings in this country. Still well ahead of that. But the highest rating we've ever had for a NASCAR race was 11.6, and that came in 2006. Now we're looking at 4.4, right? I mean, it's roughly a third of what it used to be. The question is, what is the fix? 71307. The best idea that comes in, we'll send it to a NASCAR higher-up on your behalf. Make sure, if you can, you put your name in your text messages so I can give you all due credit. NASCAR this year, the races are averaging 2.86 million viewers, a 5% decrease from 22. Okay? Pretty soon, there's not going to be a fan base left to be losing audience from. Okay? 2.86 million viewers a race, yet still beating Formula One in the United States. 844-326-3663 is the number on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone. Your number one fixed NASCAR idea is... That's what's next here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. MARC RYAN and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the fan upstate. Diesel, I probably shouldn't do this to Eric, but I'm going to. Okay. Eric, welcome to the show, bud. You're Offsides. How are you, dude? How are you, Eric?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, Eric, I probably shouldn't do this to you. You seem like a very, very nice man. But this is no, it's kind of, it's really
you set him up to smack him back down.
No, it's adorable, Eric, what you just did during the commercial break. Guys, tell me how cute this is. So, like, Diesel started laughing at something Eric was saying, and I was like, what did he say that was funny? And Diesel says, we've got this trend going on where people are giving us very specific locations about where they are. Okay, so Diesel goes, I'm rolling with it. So, Eric, when we say, where are you? You know, we're looking for the town that you're from or the town that you're in or, you know, where, like, whatever you're doing. And so Eric says today that he's on Eric is on Butler Road, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see Eric right now, wave hello to Eric. He's on Butler Road. Eric on Butler Road. It's great to see you, Eric. Stay safe on Butler Road, please, sir. Will you do that for me?
Yeah, well, you know, I figured I had plenty of time sitting here behind all these other cars that I could call in. So, you know.
There you go.
Hey, don't forget to swerve those potholes out there on Butler Road.
Yeah, on Butler Road, Eric. Be safe out there, buddy. It's adorable that people are getting so. Next, where are you? I'm at my home. Here's my address. So, Eric, what do you got, man? You got it. One fix for NASCAR. We got our pen and paper ready over here.
Farm League. They need to funnel their money down to our local tracks so that these local drivers will gain some traction and get some followers, and we can follow them up into the big leagues. And, you know, then you'd create a fan base. We've got college football. We watch these guys from high school go into the college. We root for them there. And then when they hit the NFL, we naturally watch them. You know, it doesn't matter where they're coming from, but if I've got an incentive to go to the local track and watch these guys go around in circles because they actually have a chance to go somewhere, you know, I might go to the local track because the influx of NASCAR money may make the track better, may make the concessions, the facilities for me better, and just make it a better overall experience for me and my family. You know, I grew up, my dad owned cars, and, you know, I remember looking down at my drink and seeing pieces of rubber from the tires and dirt, you know, but you got to come up in that to enjoy it. You get these people today where, you know, they want to drive a Tesla. You know, you're not going to see that out there, but let's get some, you know, farm league. Let's support the little guy, and then maybe they can get a following in their area and bring it up to the big league.
Man, that's like, guys, admittedly, what sort of feeder system does NASCAR have right now? Don't they have a minor league system already?
They do, but it's not always necessarily associated with NASCAR. There's no, like, you win at this circuit, you get to jump up to this circuit. You win at that circuit, you jump up to that circuit. That's not really how it works.
Okay.
Right.
Eric on Butler Road. We're gonna put this down, and I'll tell you what, Eric on Butler Road. If you have the best idea, I'm going to send to a NASCAR higher up that Eric on Butler Road helped us out. By the way, you know we mean that in the nicest way, right? That is so adorable that you told us literally where you are, Eric. You know, say hi to Eric.
You know, it's a fan upstate, right? You know, I'm just figuring you guys are local. You know where it is.
Of course, absolutely.
You know,
Eric, thanks so much for the call, pal. Really do appreciate you.
Man.
Good to hear your voice, and thanks for ringing us up.
So a trackable farm system where guys are making their way up year after year, race after race, whatever it may be. It's not a bad idea.
I like it. And again, you know, like, you know, you do something like that around these parts, then all of a sudden you're really building a fan base. You know, you got your own local driver who now you're following, and this guy's always going to be my driver, and he's from Greenville, and he's great. And I got to tell you guys, we might have an early leader in the clubhouse here, a marketable farm league for NASCAR. If you're just joining us and wondering what we are doing, we've got a little challenge going on for you. NASCAR's fallen on hard times. Ratings down 46% from the heyday. Highest rated NASCAR event ever, 11.6. That was in 2006. Typical rating these days, biggest event 4.4, average rating 2.8. Like caramba. So, look, the theme of the show today is positivity. Gamecocks lost last night. We're rolling with the positive. We got a segment to do with you today. Positive traits about area coaches. Because like hope springs eternal. You look at this weather out here today, man, it's awesome. What is the best fix, single fix? I'm not looking for a laundry list of 8 ideas. I'm looking for your one great idea to get NASCAR back on the pun intended right track.
I know. Let's make a playoff. No, so this is a legit idea here. What if we regionalized NASCAR tracks into pods? I know I'm using college football nomenclature here because it makes sense to people. What's going on with the rules in NASCAR don't make any damn sense. We're going to go 18 laps and then we're going to pause. Everybody's going to get out, get some orange slices, and then we're going to get back in the cars and we're going to run reverse on the track for a couple laps, see everybody feels about that, sit around, have a kumbaya session, and then we're going to finish the race. The rules don't make any damn sense to anybody. What if we regionalized the tracks, grouped them into geographical regions, and then the winner or 2 winners or top 5 from each region, call it 4 regions, power 4, right? Let's have them play it off. That way the South is represented by their drivers, the Northeast is represented by their drivers, the Northwest and the Southwest.
Does the Northeast have any drivers?
I'm sure they have a few. There's something going on up there. I don't know. I think they're more into boxwood derbies up there.
Pacific Northwest, does the Northwest have any drivers? Are there any NASCAR drivers from Seattle? I honestly don't know the answer to that, but let us start getting to some of your
It's like having
solutions.
conferences. The idea is like having conferences with NASCAR tracks.
Okay. Less mile and a half and more short track racing. Bring the Clash back to the South and not California. Appeal to your fan base. When he says bring the Clash back, we're not talking about the band. So what?
No,
what
he's
are you
talking about the race that they've been holding the last 2 years or so inside the LA Coliseum.
Okay. Let's see here. Appeal to your fan base, which is in the South. Well, this is a lot more than one idea, Texter. This is a lot more than one. Texter says yes to this. Add more road course tracks. Going in a circle at 200 miles an hour is only entertaining for so long as a casual fan. I'm about to say something that could offend quite a few of you. Okay. This is going to sound very snooty, very hoity-toity, and I'm going to tell you guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. For a long time, I felt about NASCAR that I require more to be stimulated than things going around and around in a circle. If I didn't, a hamster wheel would be amusing to me. Okay? You ever see those people in the pet store? They're sitting forever, and I was like, poor person was born without a brain. They're just watching a hamster go around and around in a wheel, and I don't get this. I don't understand this. For a long time, that's how I've seen NASCAR. Okay? To me, guys, is there strategy going on? Yes. Is there drafting going on that I don't understand? Yes. All that's going on. Okay? I just feel like I need more to be stimulated than things going around and around in a circle. Okay? Like I could get a Hot Wheels track to do that for me. So what's the solution to that? Road courses. I've seen road courses. I love road courses. All right? Love them. I love when the car kind of slides through gravel. I love that it's got a unique design to it. Okay? Like I love road courses. That stimulates me, man. I'm not trying to be insulting. I probably have a lower IQ than some or many of you. Okay? So like if you are a high IQ bloke, explain to me how something going around and around in a circle is stimulating to you. Like Diesel, is it stimulating to you?
It's interesting because they're going fast, and then the wreck and the carnage they're in is what's interesting. But for the most part, it's not. Right. It's like it's cool that they're going fast, and it's cool when they slow down real fast. So that's what makes it interesting. I mean, if you're a car guy and knowing that taking out this amount of wedge out of the right rear is going to make the car handle better, and it's going to make it sit at this angle, and the rear end is going to squat down another half an inch. That's like real high level engineering stuff that if you've got an engineering mind, you're probably fascinated by. But then ultimately that's such a small fraction of the fan base,
right,
who is really and can understand what is happening and why it's happening when you make these small adjustments to the cars.
Guys, I'm not disputing that there's stuff way above my level of intellect that's going on in a NASCAR race. Like the teams, the science, way above my head, okay? But the end result is cars going around and around in a circle.
Roger Carper, that's gross. Roger Carper messages in on YouTube and says some people use hamsters for stimulation.
Oh, boy.
That's disgusting,
oh, boy. Roger, this is family program.
We
Roger.
already heard about Doonussies on this show. Now you're talking about hamsters up the keister.
Yeah, Roger, eyes up here.
Dang,
Family show,
dude.
Family show.
You got problems. You need to go talk to a priest.
Texter says it's so hard to answer with just one solution to fix NASCAR, as there are so many issues. They alienated their P1s and need to get back to them. Texter says add some flair to some races that really shows off driver skills. Some off-the-wall examples. Wet track, dirt track, add slopes. Diesel.
You just want to turn it into those wild off-road races.
Hey, why not a loop-de-loop while we're at it? Okay. Can you make a loop-de-loop work? What would happen if you did? What's the science on that, Diesel? It works on roller coasters. You don't fall out of the.
Yeah, but that's because it's going real fast. A roller coaster car is not nearly as heavy. Look, would it be a good idea for NASCAR to bring back some alternate racing surfaces? Sure. I mean, I think they would probably have to be more like exhibition races outside of, the points structure. Like, hey, I know you guys are used to doing 1.5 mile tracks running 185, 200 miles an hour, but we're going to change that completely. We're going to put you on dirt and we're going to make you do zigzags, in the middle of this race. I don't know that you can make that part of the point structure to win. Now, would it be like people have been saying for years, which the strategy works for Major League Baseball in the Field of Dreams game? Why not make them race on the beach in Daytona again? That's where NASCAR started. I get that. I do think those types of events as one-off races would be a heck of a lot of fun. Like, but buddy of mine grew up in Winston-Salem. He said the track over there, Bowman Gray Raceway, they used to have chain races where some of the NASCAR drivers, still active NASCAR drivers on their week off, would come back and participate in these chain races. The car in front had the motor, the car in back had the brakes, and they would get hammered drunk and go out there and do this thing. Dangerous as hell, but fascinating.
Okay, guys. So let me bring you into this. Okay, we roll with a circle with NASCAR. Okay, how about just different shapes? This race is going to be in a triangle. Okay, and Mark, well, you got that really sharp turn going down from the triangle. You cause a wreck, you're eliminated. As a matter of fact, that might be my idea to fix NASCAR. There's way too many stoppages. There's way too many wrecks. And if you cause the wreck, you're eliminated. We're going to determine the person who causes every wreck. Okay? We need people driving more carefully out here because the cars now are safe, but the stoppages are not. I don't want to watch a half an hour delay. I'm not interested in that. So instead of just going around in a circle, give me a square. Give me a triangle. Okay? Give me some different shapes out here. Vary it up a little bit.
Did you ever see the movie Death Race?
No.
I don't know, mid 2000s, something like that. It was a race where an evil corporation were pitting prisoners against each other in auto races where they were strapping like bombs and guns to the car. What if you did that but with paintballs?
Oh,
what if we added a paintball element? Like let's just get silly with it, right? Let's turn it into Hot Wheels.
Now we are getting silly, but we do want your one best solution. Okay? Because look, guys, when all you do is go around and around in a circle all day, it doesn't take much to come up with ideas that would give to NASCAR the little blue pill.
If your lady only goes round and round and round in circles, eventually you're going to go numb to it.
That's right. That's right. You got to vary it up. You got to role play a little bit. Do a little something different. Let's get to Wes in Spartanburg, who is up next. Wes is
Hey,
not on
my-
Butler Road, but he is in Spartanburg. Hey, Wes.
Yes. Hey, my idea is, and they used to have it. It was called the IROC series. You put all the drivers in one particular car, and that makes your best driver. That's who you can determine is your best driver.
Wait,
driving
Wes,
the
Wes,
exact same car.
forgive my ignorance. I thought they were essentially driving the same car with the same specifications anyway.
No, they're not. They're not, because you got different engines.
Okay, so riddle me
You
this.
got-
Riddle me this. Like, don't they have to have some sort of rule where like the max speed of every car is between like 180 and 185 or something? Otherwise, it's unfair. Fastest car wins.
No. What they do is they control the speed on the super speedways with restrictor plates,
Okay.
which controls the amount of fuel that goes into the engine.
Okay.
So that's how they control it.
Okay.
But I mean, I know that basically all the cars, they're almost the same, but you've got different dynamics on between, say, like the old ones, like a Monte Carlo and a Taurus.
Okay. So give me your full idea, Wes. How do you implement it?
Well, like I said, they used to have back 25 years ago, they had an offshoot of NASCAR, and they would take the best drivers out of NASCAR, the best drivers out of Formula One, and the best drivers out of the Indy series, and they would throw them into a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Every one of them were driving a Firebird Trans Am.
Interesting.
Same engine, same aero package, same everything.
Interesting stuff. Wes, great to hear your idea, pal. Thanks for ringing us up. Great to hear from you, man.
We got a call from Steve in Spartanburg. Spartanburg's all over this NASCAR thing. He says, get rid of the stages and the weird point system. Which
system is the problem.
I'm confused by the stage system as well. Steve in Spartanburg, I'm with you. I was watching the race last Sunday, the Las Vegas race. Didn't make any sense to me. They were running down the rule. We're going to go 18 laps and then we're going to stop, and then we're going to go 200 laps and then we're going to stop. Why? Why are we stopping? I mean, I understand the whole point is probably to bring cars back closer together so that one driver can't get out to this massive lead and essentially lap the entire field. I assume that's part of the reasoning for it. But if you're not going to do something really strange with these stages, like, hey, we're gonna race for 50 laps, and then we're gonna turn the field around. If you were in last place, now you're in first place. We're gonna take right turns for a while. You know, I mean, that to me is what would make the stages more interesting. But I don't understand, and I don't like the staging system either.
Instead of going left, we're going to go right today, ladies and gentlemen. That is our big idea.
Hey, you know, I used to love playing the video games where you could put in the cheat code and turn Daytona around backwards and race backwards in Daytona.
That was the thing.
It was fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Guys, you know, I'll tell you a huge problem. They still do this thing, right, where you win one race and you're in the playoff. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Who cares about winning one race and you're in the playoff? You win one race, you get eliminated from the next 10, you're in the playoff. Make that make sense to me. Why not have a system that actually rewards the 16 best drivers, not somebody who won a race?
Stephen Webb says, Stephen, this is from Days of Thunder. He said, some guys just need to hit the pace car. In the words of Harry, they hit every damn thing else. I just want them to be perfect. You're eating ice cream?
Guys, we're having some fun with you today about NASCAR. We're looking for your one fix for the sport, your best fix. Do this one thing, and NASCAR will be back on the right track, pun intended. And here's our pledge to you. I'm going to send the best idea as decided by Diesel and I to a NASCAR higher-up. What do you say? Get them rolling in. We'll continue the discussion right after this. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. What is your one fix for NASCAR? Stop having the stupid system where one win gets you into the playoff and you suck the whole rest of the year. You imagine that? Like, it just doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, it's a long shot to win a race, but if that's the only qualification you have to make the playoff, let's do something better. Let's make it the 16 best racers plus win. A win is required. Plus, you got to be the best in the other races. I don't like the system. I think you're rewarding the wrong things. Texter says, let other tire manufacturers in. Better tires equals better racing instead of all in the same tire. I don't know, Diesel. Depends on how how good she is at throwing that thing in a circle. Guys, you continue to want to take this show to a non-family place.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it on the track. You're trying to take it off-road.
They race at Pocono, which is called the Tricky Triangle. Is it really a triangle?
It's pretty close.
Really?
And it's got curved edges,
Okay.
like curved corners, but it's 3 straightaways connected. Without taking a 90-degree left turn, it's basically a triangle.
I want shapes out there, ladies and gentlemen. I want shapes. Make it happen. NASCAR Sprint Cup and the trucks both tried dirt track racing, and it was a big hit, I thought, but they went away from it already. CJ from Greer says, add a figure 8 race. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Add a figure 8 race.
You mean
Yes.
with a bridge or a tunnel, or you want them
like-
crossing over the same area?
Yeah, like some are under and some are over. That is brilliant. See, that is brilliant. Like, I don't know what that CJ from Greer guy is saying, but it sure does make a lot of sense.
When they do figure 8 demolition derbies, they have the 2 directions of the track crossing each other.
Okay.
So there's a very good chance you're going to get T-boned.
Let's get to Brian in Greenville, who is up next on the show. Brian, your one fix to get NASCAR back on the right track.
Well, and I'm a racing fan, so I don't have so much have a fix as I have a challenge for you.
Okay.
And that is, don't try to become a NASCAR fan. Become a racing fan, and there's one way to do it. Get it open Friday night. Get you and your beautiful wife and your child. Go out to Anderson Motor Speedway one Friday night. And bear in mind this. These are not teams with $1 million budgets. These are hardworking, blue-collar Americans who a lot of times their pit crews are actually volunteers and friends, and there's all kinds of division. You'll see 10-year-olds racing out there. You'll see 65-year-olds. And go out there and just watch a race at its lowest, not the lowest, but at its ground level, and see if you find it entertaining.
I think I would. We got somebody in the building who said, like, he went, Brian, tell me if this happens. Somebody in the building told me that he went to like a NASCAR race some years ago, and he was picking pieces of tire out of his ear for weeks, like melted pieces of rubber. That happens?
Absolutely.
What?
Absolutely. Greenville Pickens Speedway, we used to park on the backstretch. And when the Cars Tour came there, which was 40 cars in that very small track, when they came flying by, you had to cover your eyes and ears because it was nothing but rubber.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the other thing. I was 5 feet from the cars when they're coming by at 85 miles an hour.
Wow. Okay. Well, Brian, it sounds fun. So you're getting me into it on the grassroots level. Brian, love the idea, pal. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great to hear from you.
I think what Brian, number one, that is the sport literally hitting you in the face. Number two, I think there needs to be a concerted effort to bring this sport back to the grassroots, back to the ground level. Having NASCAR drivers being inserted into local races, like whatever's the next level down from NASCAR or the next level down from that. NASCAR needs to be sending, hey, guess what? Coming up this Friday night, Kyle Busch is going to be racing at Anderson Motor Speedway. He's going to come and do it. And then, Blaney is going to be at this other track, and this guy is going to be that other track. I think that's a great way to rejuvenate things from the ground level, but it's very, very simple, Mark, here. This is very, very simple idea that I cannot believe. It blows my mind that nobody has mentioned this idea yet. Make the sport cheaper.
Okay.
Make the sport less expensive. Look, I grew up as a kid every May and every October camping out in the infield at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We had a campsite right outside of turn 2. It was an absolute blast. I friggin' loved it. Loved it. And from that point, this was, early 90s, mid 90s, the track was growing. They were putting in new stands, new grandstands. The infield was full. It was completely packed. Guess what happened? Everything got way too expensive. The price of our campsites doubled. The price to get in doubled. Everything that you have to buy once you're in there doubled. It got too damn expensive. Now all these people who were there every single race, their campsites are sitting empty, and NASCAR's trying like hell to rent them out to people who drive their big-ass RVs down there. It is priced out the common fan. We saw it with what the Atlanta Falcons did. They dropped their concession prices. People bought more concessions. It's not a difficult concept.
Let's get to JD Wyatt, who is up next on the show. JD, what's good, man? What's your idea?
Hey, Mark, thanks for taking my call. Actually, I'm the one that said I couldn't come up with one good idea. That might have been me being a little offside as a texter there. I mean, every idea that's been mentioned so far, I mean, NASCAR literally has tried one way or another. I know you have a big issue with the, win the one race and you're in, but under the old point system, what would used to happen is that within the last 5-6 races, someone would have such a point lead from being so consistent all year that they literally could sit out the last 5 races and still win the championship. And so it's just one of those things where, like I said, every idea that's come up, I've been a NASCAR fan, a racing fan for a long time. And so NASCAR's literally tried all this. They tried going onto a different surface. They tried it with the trucks going onto the dirt. They tried it with the dirt track at Bristol. Diesel, you even just mentioned Tent City is what it was called in Charlotte there on the infield. I camped out inside of turn 2 there at Charlotte many a times from the 2005 to 2009 range. And now it's all gone. There is no tent or RV sites available on the infield because they changed it to there might be RV sites, but they got rid of the whole Tent City side on that turn 1 and 2 side for Charlotte to make it into the Roval. And so that's why NASCAR is going to be a really difficult thing to fix. If there was one thing I would say, though, I would agree with, I think it was Wes from Spartanburg. They got to get back to being stock cars. Everybody's got to drive the same car. There can't be certain teams who have multiple cars who gain advantages because they have more than one car to test on or whatnot. And one more thing, please go to Lawrence County Speedway. It's a dirt track, or TR Speedway if you really want to feel the sport hit you in the face. Man, when these cars come into turn 1, turn 2, and they turn sideways, you can literally feel the specks of dirt hitting you in the face, when they go by. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for taking my call.
So I like what JD said there, but I think there's a way to reverse it. Instead of you win a race and you're automatically in the playoff, how about you can't get in the playoff without winning a race? Like, instead of making it an automatic berth, why not make it a prerequisite?
Well, I think, Diesel, because there's not how many different guys have won a race? Let me see. Wins thus far. Okay, well, there's not been many races. There's just been 3 races. Yeah. You have three different winners. What do they run at Diesel? About 35 races a year? What's the number of races that they run in a year? So it's just, you got to win a race. That's a good starting point. You got to win at least one. 36. I mean, I'm down with that. But when winning a race guarantees you a berth and you essentially suck the rest of the year, I don't know what that's doing to crown the best racer, nor give you the best playoff. You probably half the drivers in the playoff probably stink. I don't know. All right, guys, we will announce the winner of this little shindig coming up at in the 6 p.m. segment today. What do you say? It's Offsides. Mark, Ron, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Fantastic to have you guys with us. Always do appreciate you making us part of your day. You can get to us on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone at 844-326-3663. I temporarily forgot the number. Oh, man, 844-326-3663. And on the text line, it's 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show.
Man, it's going to get weird here in the upstate once we institute the new area code. You know it's coming, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
The upstate is about to get a second area code.
Why?
Because we got too many people.
Well, that's the truth, but it's person related, it's population related.
I would assume so.
Okay, because it's the upstate isn't getting any bigger, so like size wise.
30,000 new people a year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's going to be 821. It'll be applied beginning here in 2024. We're going to have 821, which is, I think it's going to weird some people out because I'm from Western North Carolina. I'm an 828 number. So you put it, they're too similar. I think it's going to screw some people up.
Yeah, very well could. Very, very well could. What do you guys think? New area code 821 coming to the upstate. What do you say we get to that little jam? We call it the top 5 at 5. The top 5 biggest sports stories of the day. The top 5 topics we're discussing. Ladies and gentlemen of the upstate, Offsiders. The top 5 at 5 starts right now.
And now, the top 5 at 5.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hit it.
5.
All right, so big name QBs looking for new places. Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. Where are each going to end up? Well, let's hear your best guess. What do you got? There doesn't seem to be a massive market for Justin Fields. Doesn't seem to be. I'm going to go Kirk Cousins ends up in Atlanta. They're just looking for relevancy. He can deliver that. I'm going to say Russell Wilson ends up in Blitzburg.
But do you like that idea?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Justin Fields. Where does he go? That's tough. That is really tough. How about the Las Vegas Raiders? That seems like a fit, right? Las Vegas, Justin, etc. So that's my best guess today, ladies and gentlemen. New York, the Giants are married to Daniel Jones foolishly. Washington, I think, gives Sam Howell another go. Minnesota is going to need a quarterback. But I'll go those 3 spots. Kirk Cousins to Atlanta, Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh, Justin Fields to the Las Vegas Raiders. What say you about that? Next up.
4.
At number 4. Guys, quite honestly, I've shared with you my biggest regret since moving here to the upstate 5 years ago. And that is that somehow, some way, you guys allowed this to happen to me. I'm blaming you. I never had cookout until the last month. That's a fantastic place. So why didn't I have it? I knew it was a South Carolina thing. I wasn't trying to avoid being a South Carolinian. But so why did I never have it? Because I thought it was higher scale fast food. I like, okay, this is going to be better fast food. It tastes better, but it costs more. So no. If I want to do fast food, I want to spend $8. And if I want to spend $8, I'm going to go to the regular fast food places. If I want to spend $15, I'll go to a restaurant. So to me, it just was never a place I went to. Brother, I went there. I've been going there for about a month now, and I am so upset you guys allowed me to go 5 years without checking that out. It's fantastic. And the price can't be beat. Okay, now, look, nobody's paying me for this. I'm just telling you, I regret not going. And like you guys got something here that is really, really great. Last night for $8, I got a double cheeseburger. I got 2 walking tacos, which is a bag of Doritos. They make it into like a taco with sour cream and ground beef and lettuce and sauce and all that stuff. And then I had a banana shake, $8 something cents. Freaking fantastic. They didn't give me anything. I'm just telling you, it's my biggest regret since I've been here in the upstate. My biggest regret that you guys allowed me to go 5 years without hitting that place. It's incredible. Incredible. By the way, banana shake for the win, right?
You know, there's one right down the street, right?
No.
It's right down there, like a mile and a half away.
Really?
Yeah, right down there. Just
You
right
mean
down that road.
Down Woodruff?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a cookout down that road.
All right, guys. So go-to shake, banana, right? We going banana as the go-to?
No, I'm going Oreo shake.
He's going Oreo shake for the go-to. You get one go-to shake flavor. How you shaking it?
You know,
Let me know.
they do the Oreo shake way better than McDonald's does the Oreo shake, because McDonald's, it's always just in the bottom of the cup. Like, they do a terrible job stirring it up. Not a cookout, man. It is equally dispersed throughout the shake.
You ever had a shamrock shake, Diesel?
Is that the one where they put Irish whiskey in it?
This is a regular fast food restaurant.
Oh.
It's at McDonald's, Diesel.
I mean, that doesn't mean you can't put Irish
Yeah.
whiskey in it.
The
You just
shamrock
don't
shake
do it when
is-
anybody's
is
looking.
my jam. It's green, which might make you go, but it has that mint chocolate chippy kind of flavor to it. The shamrock shake is my jam.
I drank enough green beer one St. Patrick's Day that the next day my pee was green.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. That's too many beer, dude.
It was a lot of beer.
All right, guys. That's my biggest regret. Banana shake for the win. What's your shake flavor? Next up.
3.
All right, at number 3 today, Gamecock basketball. Had a chance to claim a share of the regular season SEC crown last night. Fell just short. So why am I not devastated for Gamecock fans? Well, because I actually think this could be better for you in the long term. Look, guys, here's the reality. There's a lot of Clemson fans, a lot of Florida fans that are spoiled. You know, all they've known is winning. And when that's all you know, that comes to be what you expect, right? You expect it as opposed to celebrating it. All right? When something that's exciting becomes an expectation, you lose a lot of joy for what you've got going on. If the Gamecocks won the SEC title, SEC championship in Lamont Paris' second year, where does he go from here? You're creating an expectation in a place that doesn't have any, right? You can only go down from there. You know, guys, they say the best relationships, the relationships romantically that last are those that are a slow burn, not those where, like the third date, you guys are tearing each other's clothes off and clearing your schedules for the next week. The best relationships go from first base to second base to third base to home, incremental progress. You know, Tennessee kind of led from wire to wire. Gamecocks made it a game late. Tennessee, Dalton Connect, player of the year in the SEC. I am still so damn proud of what Lamont Paris has accomplished, and you guys are going to appreciate it so much more when you actually do win the thing. If Lamont Paris continues to be your head coach, believe you me, it's coming. It's coming. So if you can believe it, I think there's a shining light. It actually could be good that South Carolina is taking baby steps in the right direction. Next up.
2.
Mike Florio is not happy with the scoop world. And this is cool. This offers you some insight. Do you ever wonder, like, okay, how does Adam Schefter get all these scoops? Or this guy get this scoop? Or Adrian Wojnarowski, how does he get his scoops? And how does this work? Well, Mike Florio says the agents have the scoopers, hook, line, and sinker.
That happens, and how come that is just standard procedure where, you know what, we're going to report a contract, it's definitely going to be wrong, and then we'll find out later. That's been just like since the beginning of the NFL, and it's still happening today, seemingly. Why?
Well, the agents use the reports, the value of the contracts they negotiate as recruiting fodder to get more clients. So when the agent sends the group text to all of the folks who are clamoring to be the first ones to win, you know, the thumb race to Twitter with the details, the reporters don't ask questions. They don't push back, because you know what happens if you start pushing back? I found out. You don't get the text anymore. when you say, wait a minute. You said $40 million guaranteed. Is that fully guaranteed at signing? Or is that like guaranteed for injury? And when does it vest? You start asking those questions, you get frozen out. You're not on the text chain anymore. I'm not on the text chain anymore. So you know what text chain I am on? Once the number comes out, it's been pumped up by the agent who wants to print off those posts on X and laminate them and use them to recruit their next wave of clients. I get the real contract and I say, okay.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff from Mike Florio. What'd you learn from that, Diesel? It's kind of BS the way they did.
It's all BS. Yeah. And none of this information is ever confirmed. People go nuts. They tweet out, "Oh my God, this guy's got so much money. He's going to make so much money. This deal is insane." And it's really all just to come back full circle and line the agent's pocket with more money from more clients.
And finally, at number 1, we've got a challenge for you today. NASCAR has seen its ratings plummet by 46% since its heyday. 46%. The highest rated NASCAR race of the modern era, 11.6 TV rating in the year 2006. Now, a typical major race earns a rating of about 4.4. The average rating for NASCAR draws 2.86 million people, which is to say not a lot.
Is it really the modern era when you're pointing at a race that was 18 years ago? A race 18 years ago was our highest rated race, and now we're not even sniffing that number anymore.
No, not anymore.
Sheesh.
Not anymore, man. But, look, guys, I can tell that NASCAR has run into hard problems when I've got people that work for NASCAR employees emailing me asking if I'd like to have their drivers on. My policy is always, if I know the driver, if I've heard of the driver, I'll give it a shot, right? Some of you might remember we had Jimmy Johnson on the show a few years ago. So we're asking you guys for your single best fix for what ails NASCAR. Your single best fix for NASCAR. And if you have the best one, as will be determined by Diesel and I in less than an hour, I will personally email your idea to a NASCAR higher-up, okay? These people have been communicating with me via my work email for years. I will personally send them the email with your name. So when you send in your idea, make sure you give us your name. I will put that in the email. The best idea will be sent to NASCAR Brass. What do you say? Pretty good deal, right? Pretty good deal. We've all had our ideas. Diesel says, just make it less expensive, man. Forego some of the profit. Make it less expensive. I want to get rid of this, you win a race, you're in the playoff BS. You could win a race and suck the other 35. Get out of here.
Here's honestly what they really, really need to do. And this is part of taking NASCAR back to its roots. Start driving stock cars again. You know, people like NASCAR because they could turn on the TV or turn on the radio and listen to Richard Petty driving around in a Dodge Plymouth. You can't go buy these cars anymore. Like, it says Camaro on the front of the car. It says Camry on the front of the car. And nothing says Camry or nothing says NASCAR like a Toyota Camry, right? But you know full well there's not a damn single part that is the same on a stock Toyota Camry and a NASCAR Toyota Camry. That is a high-performance machine wrapped in sheet metal with the word Camry painted on the hood. We got to stop doing that. If you want people to be able to identify with the sport again, make these drivers drive cars that these people can go down to their local dealership and buy. Not some crazy souped-up Dodge Demon Hellcat with 800 horsepower. I'm just saying, have them drive a Dodge Charger, a real Dodge Charger. And then somebody can go down to the dealership and say, oh my God, I am technically driving the same car that Kyle Busch is driving. But they're not doing that anymore. I mean, that's what they used to do. They were driving real stock cars. And now it's a high performance machine. I mean, an Indy car has just as much in common with Joe Blow's Ford Mustang as the Ford Mustang that the guys in NASCAR are driving. Meaning they have nothing in common. The only thing that the NASCAR car has in common is it's roughly the shape of a Ford Mustang.
What do you guys think? Ideas, a single idea to fix what ails NASCAR. We'll deliver the best of the best to NASCAR's brass.
JD wants credit for that. I didn't realize, JD, that you said that. Excuse me. I didn't realize that I stole your thunder, man. Sorry about
You
that.
can sue for that in this country. You can. And those are today's top 5 at 5. Now it's your chance to chime in, which you can do at 844-FAN-PHONE and the Renewal by Anderson fan phone. That's 844-326-3663. The text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan and away you go. You can get to us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube at The Fan Upstate on every one. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube. And finally, email. You guys can all email the show. Mark Ryan, that is M-A-R-C Ryan, at thefanupstate.com. All the different ways you can get in touch with us here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. Coming up next. Oh, wait a minute. Win on Sunday sale on Monday was the old saying for NASCAR.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Win on Sunday, sale on Monday. Meaning if a Chevrolet Camaro wins the race on Sunday, Chevy dealerships are going to sell a bunch of Camaros on Monday.
Oh, I see. Texter says, I go with a watermelon shake. No.
See,
watermelon should be a slushie, not a shake.
I think it's worth cautioning turning NASCAR into Caddyshack 2.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like a lot people are throwing out a lot of wonky, weird, fun ideas, and they are fun, more like video game ideas. Hey, let's turn around and drive backwards. You know, I think if you try to add the silly, absurd element, it gets people to watch like 1 or 2 times. And then the hardcores are like, this isn't the sport I recognize. It's gimmicky, and I'm out. So, I mean, my ideas, make it regional again, make it small time again, but have them all be competing for a national playoff. And then JD's idea, have them driving actual stock cars. They can be crazy souped up versions of that. And they can have, you know, a horsepower limitation. They all have to be under 700 horsepower, whatever the number is. You can't exceed 700 horsepower, but otherwise, that's what you're driving.
All right, guys, coming up next on the show, what would you say we hit you with our spring football wish lists? Clemson and South Carolina. It is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate.
JD, I think you're the only one left still watching the stream. Everybody else has already punched out. Hey, man, appreciate you being here all day. I appreciate we had a whole bunch of people jumping in earlier in the show. Adam Dameron was a big part of the show. Scott was a big part of the show. Roger Carper was a big part of the show. Stephen Webb jumped in. So, hey, appreciate all you guys throughout the show for jumping in and watching.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you Friday. Take care.